Tonight on Missing Persons Unit.
I know who she's with.
Go and see if we can find her.
They're 13-year-olds and they're all alone. Now, the race is on to find them.
Just come home, Mum. Please.
A real bush mystery as a beloved grandfather disappears in Tasmania.
A lot of our country roads in particular go through a pretty rough area. It could be just off the road.
A best friend fears for his housemate when he vanishes, leaving no signs.
Just worried, you know, because he's normally home and he can't even cook for himself.
And a medical emergency. He's 12, he's missing, and he could die.
If he's not brought out of the seizure, he can go into a coma and he can end up with brain damage or dead.
In Sydney, Daniel and Ted have been assigned the case of Rhiannon Potts, a 13-year-old girl who's run away from home. They'll start by talking to Rhiannon's mother.
When someone goes missing at that age, it's more of a concern because they can't look after themselves. When someone's 13, they're not capable of protecting themselves, of getting money, of fending off, you know, any dangers that may happen. You know, she's vulnerable to attack. She's vulnerable to someone grabbing her off the street. It's quite a dangerous situation.
But the case is about to get more serious as Ted and Dan find out that she's not the only missing teenager.
What's been happening? She keeps running away.
I reported her missing about 8 o'clock last night. I mean, she's never been gone this long before.
Never been gone a whole night. Any idea where she'd be? Who she'd be with?
Yeah, I know who she's with.
Do you know? Do you know their name or her girlfriend?
Yeah. They're both best friends. They've both gone missing. So I'm just assuming that they're together.
Okay, what's her girlfriend's name?
Elizabeth Fletcher. I feel like I'm at the point where the girl I knew isn't a girl for my daughter anymore. I'm scared for her safety. I'm scared for her. She's 13. She's so little, immature and young. She can't survive out there on her own.
Two 13-year-olds missing for so long is a critical situation.
Do you know her parents, the parents of Elizabeth?
Yeah, Elizabeth's mum's Leah.
Yep.
Her name's Leah. I've spoken to her several times yesterday and last night.
You have Leah's number?
Ted and Daniel now need to speak to Elizabeth's mother.
I'll let you know. Thanks for that.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you know where Elizabeth is at the moment?
No, I still don't know.
And how long have you not seen Elizabeth for?
2 nights now.
All right, we'll come over now and just have a chat. It would appear that we've picked up another missing person at the same time. It's a bit of a worry, but it's probably better that they're together. They can look out for each other. But still, you know, they're two 13-year-old girls and they think they're adults. So we need to go and find them.
Back at headquarters, Constable Diana Eucles is on an even more urgent case. A 12-year-old boy disappeared overnight and he has serious medical problems.
He's a diabetic, I think, for the last 9 years, and he was really sick last week with a liver infection.
But when Diana calls Brian's home, she finds his mother is also receiving medical attention.
Who's here?
The ambulance.
Oh, why is that?
She's got pains in the chest.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Is she okay?
Yeah, they're just checking her out now.
Does it look like she's going to go with them, or...?
I don't know. They're just taking her blood pressure and all that now.
Yeah, okay.
Jane has collapsed from the stress of her son going missing.
Okay, then.
All right, no worries.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. I don't know who I spoke to, but they just told me that she's with the ambulance right now because she's having pains in her chest. I think what we're going to do is just head straight up there and then just get some details about Brian.
It's critical Diana and Corrine find Brian before both his and his mother's medical conditions become any worse. As Diana and Corrine race to Newcastle, Ted and Daniel visit the mother of 13-year-old Elizabeth, who's also gone missing with her friend Rhiannon.
Hello, you're Leah?
Yes, I am.
Elizabeth's gone missing?
She has.
You haven't seen her for...
2 days now. 2 mornings ago, when I had a feeling she wasn't going to go to school, I followed her to the station. She was just jumping on the train. So then I got her at Penrith Station, took her to the school, took her into the principal's office, left her bag in the principal's office and went.
Yeah, OK.
So she sent me a message that night, Mum, I'm at Nikki's, I'll be home tomorrow. I just, begged her to come home, and she assured me that she'd be home yesterday afternoon. And I've not seen or heard from her.
OK. She's pretty good.
But Leah believes her daughter is influenced by an older street kid, Nikki, and this has something to do with her disappearance.
Yeah, it's this other Nikki girl that I'm worried about because she's a bit of a street kid. Like, she seems sweet enough, but she's had it pretty rough, and she's used to a hard life, and she's dragging these girls along with them.
Oh, I see.
Because this girl doesn't have a home to go to, so...
How do they know Nikki?
Well, until a couple of days ago, I thought that she was a student at the school. She used to come and pick Ellie up for school with her school shirt on, which we now think was Rhiannon's school shirt. Apparently she doesn't even go to the school. It's Nikki. This is Ellie. This is Rhiannon.
That's a worry.
Isn't it? Yeah, I'm really scared.
Leah's fears are confirmed when Rhiannon's mum, Michelle, arrives with fresh news.
Apparently they are with Nikki. They were with Nikki last night.
Don't believe a word.
Yeah, and apparently they're going to be in Penrith between 3 and 4, next to the library, you know, or kind of
in that
in
area,
between the grass area.
Yep.
Yeah, so they are with Nikki and they were in Penrith this morning.
Thank you. Okay.
So I'm going to duck down there now.
Well, we better get over there. Let's go and see if we can find them.
Here we go.
Ted and Daniel are now searching the streets for not one at-risk young girl, but 3. On the case of missing 12-year-old boy Brian Maynard, Diana and Corinne are rushing to Newcastle to see his mother, Jane.
He went missing yesterday from his mother's house. She's really distressed at the moment. He's an insulin-dependent diabetic, so he's gone off now for the whole night.
But it was Jane who needed medical help after collapsing from the stress of her young son's disappearance.
Hello, Jane. Hello, Jane. Hi, how are you?
What can you say?
Hello. Nice to meet you, Constable Eucles.
Pleasure to meet you.
And Constable Walters.
Pleasure to meet you.
So what's happened?
I've just come home from the John Hunter Hospital.
Yep.
Cardiac reading of the chest pains was just severe anxiety that it read.
Yep.
So I'm quite happy to walk out of the hospital and just try and come home and get some rest and get some sleep.
But no sooner did Diana and Corinne arrive than they discover there's more to this case than they were expecting.
So we got a phone call at John Hunter Hospital while I was waiting in the emergency that Brian had turned up at Nan and Poppy's house. Now, we don't know anything else.
Okay.
It seems that Brian wasn't exactly missing. He's been staying with his grandparents.
Okay. Have you spoken to them yet? Or?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't had a phone call yet.
Does he go there often? Is that somewhere he'd normally go? Like if he...
Well, Brian, like we've had shared care with Nan and Poppy, but Brian's been here with us full-time now since December. Because he was sort of showing a bit of irresponsibility with the insulin and diabetes.
Yeah.
And I just wish he wouldn't do this to me. I love him very much, and he's the most beautiful thing in the world that God could give to any woman. But by God, did I want to hug. I wanted to kill him. I've wanted to kill him for 12 hours now.
All right, we'll give them a call and see if he's still there.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, not bad.
It's Constable Eucles here calling from the Missing Persons Unit. Is this Margarita?
Yes.
I'm just here with Jane at the moment.
Yeah.
Is he still there with you?
He's here, yeah.
Okay. Is he planning on staying there for long?
Well, I think you should stay here overnight.
Okay, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Do you mind if we come around and speak to you and Brian?
That's okay.
Okay, no worries. Probably be about 20 minutes.
Okay, then.
Okay, I'll see you then.
Later.
See you, bye.
Bye.
So I bet you're relieved now knowing.
Well, I'm angry.
Okay, like he doesn't understand, obviously.
The hypoglycemia is a serious thing. I have seen that child through it. He's been in his classroom in year 6, I think it was, just drawing and fallen off the seat and in a seizure. If the seizures can be gone through for too long, and if he's not brought out of the seizure, he can go into a coma and he can end up with brain damage or dead.
So, although Brian's turned up at his grandparents', police will need to check he's physically and mentally okay. In the western suburbs of Sydney, two mothers have joined Ted and Daniel in the search for their runaway 13-year-old daughters. They've received a tip-off the girls might be at the railway station, and it turns out the lead was correct.
And you saw her?
She was here about half an hour ago.
Oh, okay. That's...
She was just floating around down there with some
on her own or
friends.
with some friends?
Yep.
Yeah, you just recognise that photo?
Yep.
Okay. About half an hour ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to head off to Richmond Station, I think, and try and head them off there.
Okay.
I've got to go.
At least now Ted and Daniel know they are searching the right area.
No good.
But it looks like the girls have already moved on. So the focus turns to the person the 13-year-olds have run away with, the older street kid, Nikki.
Hello, Michelle. It's Constable By again.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, do you have the address for Nikki's father? So that we might go down there and see if he knows where Nikki might be.
And once again, it's the worried parents who are suffering from the disappearance of their children.
I mean, I didn't sleep last night or eat or drink. I don't know. I want to find her.
Yeah.
I'm getting more worried.
There is an address in Wayland where Nikki is believed to live, so we're going to try and just see if they're there at that address.
Back in Newcastle, Diana and Corrine are on the 2-day case of 12-year-old diabetic Brian Maynard, who's run away to his grandmother's house.
Hi, Margarita. How are you? My name's Diana. We're from the Missing Persons Unit.
Corinne, how are you?
Do you mind if we come inside? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Diana needs to hear Brian's side of the story.
Are you okay, mate? Yeah. So where have you been?
Friends.
At a friend's house? Who was it? It's all right, mate. That's okay. Obviously, you're pretty upset. Did you have somewhere to stay last night? Yep. So why did you run away?
Well, Mum was screaming at me
Okay.
and yelling and...
So did you just had an argument yesterday?
Not really, because she just always screams at me.
Okay. When was this? Yesterday. Last night. Okay. Look,
My
mate.
father even has to escape from up there to come to here. All the time.
All right. And I hear you're a diabetic. How did you go with that today? Were you okay?
Yep.
So you don't need any medication, or you're okay? All right.
Although police like to reunite parents with their missing children, that's not always how it plays out.
He's safe and well, so we're happy with that. Under the circumstances, we decided to let Brian stay here the night with his grandmother. They're both quite happy to do that, so we're just going to go back over to his mother's house and just let her know he'll be staying here for the night.
Now, Corrine and Diana have a difficult job. How do you tell a mother her child won't be coming home? In Sydney's west, Ted and Daniel are still looking for two missing 13-year-old girls. They're about to check an address of the older girl, Nikki, who's supposed to be with them.
Hello, how you doing? Is there a Nikki that lives here?
No, she used to live here, but she don't live here no more.
She's not in any trouble. She's just with those two girls. And we're looking for them. So we're looking for Rhiannon and Ellie.
Oh, right.
So,
no, I
and
don't
that's
know them two
that's
girls.
Nikki, isn't
that's
it? Yeah.
Nikki,
Yeah. So these girls are quite young, and
Yeah.
they've just been missing. They haven't come home for 2 days. So.
No, well, she hasn't lived there for a while because she used to go out with my son
Okay.
for about 2 or 3 years, and
Oh, okay.
they had a big falling out, so I told her she had to get out.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thanks for your help.
It's another dead end. Ted and Daniel can only hope the girls will come home once they hear the police are looking for them. Their mothers haven't been able to find them either.
Just come home. You won't
might be in trouble. I don't know what you think is so bad about coming home. You've had your fun now, all right? It's enough. Just come home, Mum. Please.
"1,500 kilometres south, in the small Tasmanian town of Sheffield, police are reopening a case that's 6 months old, that of missing grandfather Nick Salisi.
Coastman's Unit Constable Reedy speaking.
How you going? Sergeant Latrobe here.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. Look, I've been talking to my inspector about Mr Salisi, our missing person.
Yes?
It's been 6 months now and still no sign of him. And I was wondering if maybe it'd be an opportune time to ramp up our public campaign through the media.
Yep.
Senior Sergeant Rocky Lee has been on the case since Nick Salisi went missing in February 2008. A large-scale search was made across some of Tasmania's most rugged terrain.
Mr Salisi was last seen on the main street of his hometown of Sheffield last Monday afternoon. He's suffering from the early stages of dementia. The car is a silver Toyota Camry Altice sedan.
But neither Nick Salisi or his car have ever been seen again.
Jess, I was wondering if, as part of the campaign, we could focus on the fact that Mr Salisi does suffer from dementia.
Yep.
That he is believed to be rather confused.
I think that's a great idea to remind people of the state that he might be in.
Yeah, good.
Rocky
Thanks
hopes a
very much
new
for that.
campaign may help find the missing man
Bye-bye.
and bring closure to his close-knit family.
Dad's 69-year-old Italian. He was a good man, he was a fun man, but they diagnosed him with early possible dementia. Classic example would be on my birthday, which was a Friday. I saw him Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because he knew that my birthday was coming up, but he couldn't figure out which day was the Friday, so he didn't want to miss it.
Very funny man, or he used to think he was. No, but he was. Loved his grandkids, just, you know, made so much time to catch up and always find out what they were up to.
Unfortunately, there hasn't actually been any real credible sightings as far as we're, that's really led us to anything, and that, I guess, is why we're doing this now again, 6 months down the track, to let people know that, look, unfortunately, we haven't had the result that we'd hoped for.
Look, you can see our problem on the map here. It's a big area for Tasmania. It could be anywhere. Like, he went missing in the Sheffield region. Our searchers have concentrated in this general area, down into Devonport, because he does a lot of business in Devonport, and across to Burnie. Sightings have gone right down towards Rocky Cape, so we've done a real good search of this area, some of the back roads, but we've also done up around the Launceston area. A lot of our country roads in particular go through a pretty rough area, thousands of tracks and minor roads. It'd be easy for him to have a bit of an accident, run off the side of the road. He could be just off the road, and you may not even know he's there because some of the steep terrain and the overgrown areas. That's why we need to involve the whole public of Tasmania in our public campaign.
It's not a nice feeling knowing that a family member is there and you just don't know where they are.
Back in New South Wales, Diana and Corrine have the difficult job of telling Brian Maynard's mother he will not be coming home.
At least you know he's okay now. And
I'm happy that he was healthy and alive.
Yeah.
But there's nothing happy about this situation.
No, there's not.
It was a very sad situation. It was a very hurtful situation. I'm still suffering in the heart. My heart has not stopped thumping and hurting yet.
Take a deep breath. I can see that you're still pretty upset and anxious
now.
But
you know, many different feelings come out of this story.
At least you can kind of have some relief in knowing that he's with his grandparents. He's okay. He's gonna stay there the night.
Healthy.
Whatever happens tomorrow, that's up to you and him.
And I'm scared about the future now.
Yeah.
This has left me with a great big fear.
That's something. He's only 12 years old.
Police don't always have good news for the loved ones of missing people. But for now, Brian's safe, and for Diana and Corrine, that's a good outcome in what can be a difficult job.
I guess it's hard to separate yourself from the job sometimes, and especially when we walked in there to see Brian and he started getting pretty upset. My heart really goes out to him and his family, and it's a pretty good feeling to know that he's going to be okay.
At police headquarters,
Hello.
Hi, is this Gavin?
Yep.
Yeah, Gavin, my name's Daniel Walker. I'm with the New South Wales Police Missing Persons Unit. I just got to let you know...
Constable Dan Walker is on the phone to Gavin. Gavin is the worried carer of Potap Gordeev, a 51-year-old disabled man who disappeared 5 days ago.
Yeah, he's deaf in both ears and he's schizophrenic.
Yep.
And he's a heavy drinker and he just goes wandering.
OK.
Gavin has voluntarily taken on a role that few people would consider, caring for the troubled and fragile Potap. With good reason, Gavin worries that Potap's life could now be in danger.
So how long has he lived with you for?
Oh, well, I met him 10, 15 years ago in a Christian community halfway house and it closed down and I asked him if he'd like to come and live with me. So I'm basically his full-time carer.
Yep.
And best mate.
Gavin knows that Potap's mental condition and alcoholism make the world a dangerous place.
Is there any pubs or hotels he likes to frequent?
He sometimes hangs around the Redfern area.
Anywhere in particular?
Around Walker Street.
Walker Street, is it?
Yeah.
He's schizophrenic, hasn't been taking medication, but really should be if he's out on the street. It's a whole different world than being in a house where you know your surroundings. Also, he's deaf in both ears, and that it sounds like he may like to have a drink. So there's concerns there that does make it more essential to find him as soon as possible.
Back in Tasmania, Senior Sergeant Rocky Lee is visiting the sons of missing 69-year-old Nick Salisi.
Hi, Rocky. How are you?
Not bad, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. Come on in.
Thanks. Tap.
Jason and Nick Jr. have been searching for their dad for 6 months, and they still suffer the daily grief of not knowing what has happened to him.
What happened 6 months ago was just too out of character.
Yes.
For what he normally did for his routine. We knew what his routine was, and that's why the alarm bells rang straight away when he wasn't home that day.
That's right. But just to cover all bases, like he might have parked the car somewhere and gone for a walk to look at something, do something in particular.
Yep.
And hasn't come back to his car for whatever reason.
Nick's sons believe that the key to finding their dad is his silver car.
Like, we believe that we find the car, we'll find Dad.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I agree, that's probably the most likely scenario, that Dad's still in the car.
Yep.
If we can utilise every member of the public in Tasmania, because he could be anywhere in Tasmania, to be our eyes for us and check out their own backyard area, and if they can just come across that car.
It's hard to believe, like, a place like Sheffield, that you can't look sideways without someone knowing what's going on.
The small town.
It, yeah, that's it, that no one knows what happened to him. And I guess that's why, you just, after 6 months, it's just rolling in your head,
It's frustrating from my part that it's been 6 months, we haven't found your dad. I really thought we would have found your dad, or at least his car by now, especially over the summer. So I can only guess at how you fellas feel, and I'd hate to be in your shoes, I really would.
It'd be nice just to find that car and be able to tie everything off now.
Though Nick suffered dementia, there was another factor in his life that could be significant. He was still grieving the death 2 years ago of his treasured wife.
She's buried in Launceston. It was thought strongly that he may go to the cemetery.
2 days before he went missing, it was actually the anniversary of our mum's passing. Our dad used to always take some flowers from the garden and go to the cemetery. He could have hopped in the car and gone to Launceston.
Back in Sydney, Dan and Mandy are on the case of Potap Gordeev, a missing man who is deaf and suffers schizophrenia.
We're off to Pendle Hill to speak to Gavin, who's Potap's housemate and carer. There is some concerns here with Potap's health issues, so it's important we get there and see if there's any more information we can get. Gavin, is it? Yeah. Yeah, Dan Walker, how are you? How are you? Good.
Potap's carer, Gavin, hasn't seen him for 5 days, and he's become increasingly worried for his friend's welfare.
I didn't sleep a wink last night. Just worried, because he's normally home and He can't even cook for himself.
Potap disappeared with only the clothes on his back.
And what other sort of clothes can you notice missing?
He's got black tracksuit pants on and a black tracksuit top.
So that's his walking stick there?
Yeah, that's his walking stick.
I noticed batteries there. How long would the batteries last in his hearing aid? You mentioned when we came in that you called his brother.
Yeah, he called his brother to try and get some money.
Yep.
He was drunk, apparently, his brother said so.
Oh, drunk on the phone.
Yeah. His brother said he's had it with him, basically.
OK, I'll be doing some checks to see.
Potap's own family couldn't cope with his unstable mental state and his alcoholism. And when the halfway house where Potap was living closed down, Gavin gave him a home.
We're trying to encourage him to go to a rehab because he's drinking like 2 casks of wine, maybe a day or...
All right. Maybe that might be an underlying factor why he's sort of not wanting to be here, thinking that you guys are trying to do something in his best interest, but he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Potap couldn't be more vulnerable. He's deaf, alcoholic and schizophrenic. Yet he's gone without his hearing aids and medication. The police need to find him soon.
Good meeting you, mate. Thanks. It was really good to speak to Gavin. He identified that Potap could really struggle out on the street by himself. So, he also mentioned that he likes to hang around the Redfern area. So we're going to head to Redfern now and see what more information we can get.
I reckon if I wasn't looking out for him and looking after him, he'd probably be dead.
In Sydney, Dan and Mandy are looking for mentally ill man Potap Gurdeev, who's been missing for 5 days.
No, he said that he often comes to Walker Street to drink with mates. There's a park next to... I'd say that's the park there.
That's the park. There's no one drinking in there today. Look at that. Where's the next? Centennial Park?
Yeah.
It's not the first time Potap's disappeared, so Dan and Mandy retrace his previous path.
We're in Centennial Park. Potap went missing a few years back and was homeless for a period of time. And on reviewing our previous police reports, it was found that he was located in Centennial Park by a local homeless centre. So we're going to have a look around here to see if he's reverted back to some of his old habits.
80% of homeless people suffer from some form of mental illness. Gavin has given so much essential assistance to his friend that it's possible Potap doesn't understand how much he needs his support.
Gavin told us that Potap has a history of mental illness, schizophrenia, and in Potap's mind, living on the street could be a better situation. He may feel it's a better option than living wherever he was, when realistically it's not. We've had no luck here. Next move is we're going to head back to the office and make a few inquiries with the local homeless organisations around the area.
Gavin can only hope someone notices Potap and offers him some help.
Take him to the nearest hospital or police station, if you can, please.
There's been a development in the case of the 2 13-year-old runaways, Elizabeth and Rhiannon. The girls did hear police were looking for them and have come home. And although their mums are happy to have them back, Daniel's not amused.
No one's very worried about you.
You're not the only person that it hurts. Like, for whatever physical pain you feel, the emotional pain you put your mum through is 10 times that. Do you love your mum?
That's a really dumb question. Of course I do.
You do?
Yes.
Because I just don't see that you're understanding how much you really hurt her and how upset she was.
Yeah, I do. That's why I'm here now. I would have kept going. I wouldn't have gone. I would have like.
I can see you saying that, but the way you're acting, your actions speak differently to what's coming out of your mouth. You're just saying, yeah, no, I'm sorry, Mum, like, I don't really care.
No,
what do you
it's
actually
like,
mean?
yeah, Mum, I'm sorry and I mean it.
Well,
Right.
What? Oh.
What's your language?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I can tell you, it's frustrating for me watching just the way you're speaking to your mum. Like, you're just really dismissive of her and you really don't look sorry.
I am sorry. You saw it once. I have to prove I'm sorry to. It's my mum.
That's exactly right.
Exactly. So
we get to leave.
It doesn't matter for him of you.
Well, you know what, it matters to me because I hate seeing this situation and I'd hate seeing your mum going through this, and I hated seeing her the other day, how upset she was and frustrated.
I hated seeing her when she picked me up too, and that's why I'm happy that I'm home.
That's good.
Rhiannon isn't getting into the spirit of the reunion, but Mum is grateful to police for bringing her daughter home.
I was getting very scared, and with the police support out looking, just made me feel a lot better. I've got her back, so thank you.
Across town, Leah confirms that thanks to Ted and Daniel, her daughter Elizabeth is also safely home.
When the kids heard that the missing persons unit was involved, that's when they got scared and thought, this is serious now. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart. You guys are brilliant, and I just don't know what I'd do without you. I'd still be out of my mind probably. She'd still be out on the street, so just thank God for you.
In Tasmania, Senior Sergeant Rocky Lee is on the 6-month search for 69-year-old grandfather Nick Salisi.
Hello, Anne. How are you?
Anne Ridgway regularly delivered Nick home-cooked meals. She reported him missing when she didn't see him for 2 days.
When did you actually last see Nick?
On the Friday.
The Friday,
Friday before we reported him missing.
And so then he's gone off and done his thing over the weekend?
He went to bowls on the Saturday.
Right.
And we didn't see him, and as I say, I knew on the Monday morning that he was supposed to be home.
Right.
And that was how I panicked when the ladies brought the dinner to me and said he wasn't there.
You know, we understand, you know, he's got dementia, a form of dementia. How was he in that respect?
He was good. He was muddled.
Yes.
He was muddled, but he's been muddled for quite some time. And, I mean, we knew that, and we just, you know, you just accepted it, and you kept telling him things, and then he'd get halfway home and he'd forget something, so he'd come back and have to ask you again.
While Nick Salisi's family and friends deal with the grief of his disappearance, Rocky continues the renewed search for the beloved grandfather. By retracing his last steps, he hopes to find fresh clues.
While he was travelling along this road out of Sheffield, he was heading in this general direction. So from here, we don't know where he's gone. Like, he may have gone round to the left and headed down towards Railton and towards Devonport, the Trove, or he might have kept going straight ahead, heading towards Elizabethtown and on through to Launceston. So it's anybody's guess after now. This is the intersection. Mr. Archibald, what straight ahead is what we call the bridle track. Mr. Archibald was coming up from the bridle track, waved to each other, and Nick hasn't been seen since that we can confirm.
David Archibald, Nick's mechanic, was the last person to see him alive.
When you were dealing with him last, he never made no mention at all of, you know, might go fishing or anything like that, go somewhere in particular that he liked, an area that he liked?
No, nothing like that.
And you're certain that it was Nick that you saw?
A positive.
What happened? Did you wave to him? Or did
yeah,
you
I just gave him a wave, as most people do in the country areas.
And did he
respond?
respond?
Yeah, he waved back.
And you recognised him because of the car that he was in
for sure, yeah. And
saw
plus,
him
plus he sort of sits fairly low in the car too, and he sort of stands out, you know who he is.
So you got a good look at his face as you went past?
Yeah, for sure.
So yes, absolutely.
100% positive.
Great, yeah.
Because I just find it really strange that his car hasn't popped up anywhere, and we do a lot of motorbike riding out in the bush and stuff, and out this area, and, you know, like if he was out this way, we would have come across him for sure.
To the townsfolk of Sheffield, it's a mystery. David doesn't understand how Nick could just vanish without a trace. There's been a breakthrough in the case of missing man Potap Gordeev.
All right. Thanks for that, Joe. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. That's excellent news. Bye. Just had a call from Joe at the office. She let me know that the missing person's come home. He's at home at Pendle Hill right now. He had been in the city, so it's great news he's back home. We're going to head there now just to make sure he's okay.
Potap was noticed by charity workers and they took him home.
G'day, Potap. Stan, how are you? Good to see you, all right?
Yeah.
Feeling better?
A little bit.
Yeah.
He has a head injury and mild concussion, but he can't remember what happened.
We've arranged for an ambulance to come see you.
Yes.
Check out the bump near the noggin.
Yes.
See how you are in general.
Yes.
Gavin's been worried about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good that you're home safely now.
Well, thank you for looking for me.
No worries.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Got a headache or anything?
Yeah, a little bit.
I didn't expect Andy. He's a Ford supporter.
And a Parramatta supporter.
Because?
And Parramatta.
No, I used to live there.
He goes for who's ever on the top of the
Whoever's
ladder.
winning, yeah, that's all right.
Although he's in good spirits, the paramedics need to check Potap's physically okay.
So what's the story?
He's been missing for a few days. We think he's been in the city for a few days. He's been brought back here by people that found him, and he's got an injury to his head.
Has he got any medical conditions like dementia or something?
He's got, yeah, he does.
Potap's had quite an ordeal, so he needs a clean bill of mental and physical health before the ambulance officers are happy to leave him at home.
Sorry, Pete. Well, you'll be absolutely fine, but we're just going to send you down just for the doctors to check you out.
Yeah, all right.
I couldn't find anything wrong with you, so that's usually a good sign, OK?
Yeah.
Here we go. The chariot awaits you.
Yeah, all right.
There we go.
Yeah.
Happy to sit in the seat there, Peter.
Up you go, mate.
That's the way.
Good luck, buddy.
Been a long day. It's excellent that Potap managed to come home. Spoke to Gavin. Gavin's absolutely rapt that he's back home. He's headed off to hospital because he was at the best state, but the hospital's the best place for him at the moment.
It's good to have Potap back in safe hands. But in Tasmania, Nick Salisi's family can only hope they too will one day have some form of closure.
Yeah, good boy. And what special day is it today?
Grandpa's birthday.
Yay! Happy birthday to you, Grandpa.
Nick Salisi's disappearance has been felt deeply by his whole family.
It's very difficult. It's a very different kind of sadness and grief because there is no end to it. When you lose someone close, it's just a really horrible thing to have to adjust to living without them, with no end point to be able to farewell them and say goodbye and celebrate their life.
All right, guys.
It's been very hard for me seeing my husband very distraught about losing his dad. It's been horrible to try and explain it to the children. And for me, as well as grieving my father-in-law, I feel like I'm also grieving a friend. He was a lovely man.
It's a difficult step, but Nick's sons feel the time has come to start packing up their dad's belongings.
This brings back a lot of memories because I haven't been in this bookcase for probably 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff here that's both Mum and Dad's. And Dad didn't really change the house much after Mum left, so we're sort of doing it for both parents. So it's a bit of a double whammy.
When you're packing someone else's place up, it just, it's never an easy job in the first place, but yeah, in this situation, well, it's part of an ending. It's not the ending, it's just part of the stage, one of the stages that we're going to have to go through.
I really hate to be in their shoes packing the house up like that. It's must be awful not knowing what's going on and packing up and getting things finalised, not knowing.
For now, Nick Salisi's family can only hope that one day someone, somewhere will find their beloved dad.
One of the things that I'd just like to ask is that if you have any information at all on the Silver Camry, if you see anything close to it, please contact the police and give them the details so they can check it out for us. We'd dearly love to find the car that Dad was driving and maybe put an end to all of this.
Every 15 minutes, someone is reported missing in Australia. Have you seen Oswald Orman, who disappeared from the Northern Territory in 2007? Or Stuart Gatehouse, last seen in Kenilworth, Queensland in 2004? And Helen Munnings, who was last seen on the Bass Highway, South Burnie, Tasmania in 2008. If you have any information, please call 1800 333 000.
age, it's more of a concern because they can't look after themselves. When someone's 13, they're not capable of protecting themselves, of getting money, of fending off, any dangers that may happen. She's vulnerable to attack. She's vulnerable to someone grabbing her off the street. It's quite a dangerous situation.
But the case is about to get more serious as Ted and Dan find out that she's not the only missing teenager.
What's been happening? She keeps running away.
I reported her missing about 8 o'clock last night. She's never been gone this long before.
Never been gone a whole night. Any idea where she'd be? Who she'd be with?
Yeah, I know who she's with.
Do you know? Do you know their name or her girlfriend?
Yeah. They're both best friends. They've both gone missing. So I'm just assuming that they're together.
Missing together. Okay, what's her girlfriend's name?
Elizabeth Fletcher. I feel like I'm at the point where the girl I knew isn't a girl for my daughter anymore. I'm scared for her safety. I'm scared for her. She's 13. She's so little, immature and young. She can't survive out there on her own.
Two 13-year-olds missing for so long is a critical situation.
Do you know her parents, the parents of
her son going missing?
Okay, then. All right, no worries.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. I don't know who I spoke to, but they just told me that she's with the ambulance right now because she's having pains in her chest. I think what we're going to do is just head straight up there and then just get some details about Brian.
It's critical Diana and Corrine find Brian before both his and his mother's medical conditions become any worse. As Diana and Corrine race to Newcastle, Ted and Daniel visit the mother of 13-year-old Elizabeth, who's also gone missing with her friend Rhiannon.
Hello there.
Hello, you're Leah?
Yes, I am.
Elizabeth's gone missing?
She has.
You haven't seen her for
2 days now. 2 mornings ago, when I had a feeling she wasn't going to go to school, I followed her to the station. She was just jumping on the train. So then I got her at Penrith Station, took her to the school, took her into the principal's office, left her bag in the principal's office and went.
Yeah, okay.
So she sent me a message that night, Mum, I'm at Nikki's, I'll be home tomorrow. I just, begged her to come home, and she assured me that she'd be home yesterday afternoon. And I've not seen or heard from her.
Okay. She's pretty good.
But Leah believes her daughter is influenced by an older street kid, Nikki, and this has something to do with her disappearance.
Yeah, it's this other Nikki girl that I'm worried about because she's a bit of a street kid. Like, she seems sweet enough, but she's had it pretty rough, and she's used to a hard life, and she's dragging these girls along with them.
Oh, I see.
Because this girl doesn't have a home to go to, so...
How do they know Nikki?
Well, until a couple of days ago, I thought that she was a student at the school. She used to come and pick Ellie up for school with her school shirt on, which we now think was Rhiannon's school shirt. Apparently she doesn't even go to the school. It's Nikki, this is Ellie, this is Rhiannon.
That's a worry.
Isn't it? Yeah, I'm really scared.
Leah's fears are confirmed when Rhiannon's mum, Michelle, arrives with fresh news.
Apparently they are with Nikki. They were with Nikki last night.
A word,
yeah, and apparently they're going to be in Penrith between 3 and 4, next to the library, or kind of in between the plaza, the grass area. Yeah. So they are with Nikki, and they were in Penrith this morning.
Thank you. Okay.
So I'm going to duck down there now.
Well, we better get over there. Let's go and see if we can find them.
Here we go.
Ted and Daniel are now searching the streets for not one at-risk young girl, but 3. On the case of missing 12-year-old boy Brian Maynard, Diana and Corrine are rushing to Newcastle to see his mother, Jane.
He went missing yesterday from his mother's house. She's really distressed.
Tonight on Missing Persons Unit.
I know who she's with.
Go and see if we can find them.
They're 13-year-olds and they're all alone. Now, the race is on to find them.
Just come home, Mum. Please.
A real bush mystery as a beloved grandfather disappears in Tasmania.
A lot of our country roads in particular go through a pretty rough area. It can be just off the road.
A best friend fears for his housemate when he vanishes, leaving no signs.
Just worried, because he's normally home and he can't even cook for himself.
And a medical emergency. He's 12, he's missing, and he could die.
If he's not brought out of the seizure, he can go into a coma and he can end up with brain damage or dead.
In Sydney, Daniel and Ted have been assigned the case of Rhiannon Potts, a 13-year-old girl who's run away from home. They'll start by talking to Rhiannon's mother.
When someone goes missing at Elizabeth?
Yeah, Elizabeth's mum's Leah.
Yep.
Name's Leah. I've spoken to her several times yesterday and last night.
You have Leah's number?
Ted and Daniel now need to speak to Elizabeth's mother.
I'll let you know. Thanks for that.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you know where Elizabeth is at the moment?
No, I still don't know.
And how long have you not seen Elizabeth for?
2 nights now.
All right, we'll come over now and just have a chat. It would appear that we've picked up another missing person at the same time. It's a bit of a worry, but it's probably better that they're together. They can look out for each other. But still, you know, they're two 13-year-old girls and they think they're adults. We need to go and find them.
Back at headquarters, Constable Diana Eucles is on an even more urgent case. A 12-year-old boy disappeared overnight and he has serious medical problems.
He's a diabetic, I think, for the last 9 years, and he was really sick last week with a liver infection.
But when Diana calls Brian's home, she finds his mother is also receiving medical attention.
Who's here?
The ambulance.
Oh, why is that?
She's got pains in the chest.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Is she okay?
Yeah, they're just checking her out now.
Does it look like she's going to go with them, or...?
I don't know. They're just taking her blood pressure and all that now.
Yeah, okay.
Jane has collapsed from the stress